It's a big week for crypto. The next 48 hours will be absolutely critical as we will witness quite a bit of volatility, which we're already seeing in the charts. And the reason for that is going to be because we do have CPI and PPI data, which is coming out most notably later on today and then again tomorrow. So expect a volatile 48 hours. But in today's show, I want to give you 5 coins that I think at least provide massive upside opportunity. So stay tuned until the very, very end of the show. Smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. And let's get straight into the show content. If we look at the weekly, most of the charts are putting in some pretty sizable bounces over here. And if we look at the monthly, there's still a lot of gains to be had in terms of the drawdown that we experienced over the course of early June with that bit of a pullback. And if June is to end bullish seasonality wise when it comes to the stock market, we spoke about this, June typically is a relatively strong month, specifically when looking at it within a post-election year, right? So the first year at least of the new administration which has come in. And therefore we expect if June does end strong, there's going to be certain coins that are likely going to outperform. And in today's show, I'm going to give you 5 trades which you can be looking at if you're not already exposed to the market. Stay tuned until the very, very end if you do want those. So here it is on the Forex calendar, the big events that are coming up. Of course, we do have the CPI, which is coming out, and then the next day, the PPI. So 48 hours of probable volatility likely to drive the next move for the stock market. If that CPI does come out better than expected, then expect the stock market will just continue to grind towards those all-time highs. Very, very close, within 2% of breaking out to new all-time highs. And if you see price just consolidating underneath those highs, the bias has been that we should see a pretty massive short squeeze towards the upside. There's a lot of traders short the psychological round number right over here at about 6,000 for the S&P 500, that round 6,000 number. And the bias has been that that should elicit a bit of a short squeeze, which we started to see early yesterday. So will we get continuation of that is the question. Well, if we look at the liquidation heat map on Binance, one of the most traded exchanges, you can see just above price over here, which would break into all-time highs. You have about $23.87 million worth of liquidations. And then, of course, the big one, ETH, you're starting to build up new liquidity above that 2.8 level, which means you could continue to squeeze over there. So this is ultimately what I've labeled as the party zone, right? This is the area where if Bitcoin starts to trade up into the yellow box, which is into those new all-time highs, and especially so if we start to close weekly candles over there, that is the party zone. I don't expect that the upside for Bitcoin would be that much more from that point onwards. We've spoken a lot about it being capped around that $120,000 to $130,000 mark. But the thing is, the party zone is also, if you consolidate in there, where Bitcoin dominance probably breaks down and altcoins start to go absolutely parabolic, and we see some major catch-up moves. So as it currently stands, bulls are, of course, attempting to breach this orange line. That's your secondary trend line for the RSI. And if you can leave that level, then you can start to target the next one, which is going to be the white one coming in at about 72.62. And we'll reevaluate when that level gets hit, depending on where price is in that party zone. So as long as price action pretty much remains above the the Monday candle, the Monday candle low, which is 105,363, I would take it as bulls are in control. And you can see the cluster of support over here. If I move that price label around, which is coming exactly in at that $106,000 region, that is your 9 and your 18 exponential moving average crossing towards the upside. And not only that, but we know that we have, of course, the bull moon, which is pretty much printing within the next couple of hours. You're going to have the bull moon, and we've seen how that does typically work out. So bulls looking to defend the previous range high, which we now want to flip into support, defend as a new range low, and ultimately continue price towards the upside. We spoke a lot about the total 1, 2, 3 and others, and how it's essentially in this bullish pattern over here, almost like a bull flag leading into a falling wedge pattern into the bid zone, which we spoke about, getting bid up over there and breaking above, more importantly, the 3.3 trillion, which is the 50% level taken from the high to the low. And this one has a measured move whereby you could see this running up at least another 22 to 23%, taking up to 4.12 trillion. So that is where the party zone essentially takes place, right? Bitcoin trading into this region will bring new money flowing into the crypto markets, and you'll see this rallying towards the upside. So you're looking at about 1.49 trillion as a target for total 2, giving you a percentage gain over here of about also 24%. If we look at total 3, exactly the same chart pattern over here, percentage upside, very, very similar across all of these, about 22% over there, just shy of, or just above, at least I should rather say, above $1 trillion. If we look at the others, which refers to the true degen market cap, so it's looking at everything in the top, everything on CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, minus the top 10 coins. Well, what are you looking at? About 27% move. So a little bit more juice to squeeze from that particular lemon, where you could get some high upside targets. And then you can see the measured moves off of these targets also always look left to see what does it line up with. And if you do look left and you see what that lines up with, well, this is going to be a pretty key resistance zone. So it makes total sense that you would probably see prices trade up there, especially if Bitcoin does break into what we've labeled our party zone, which is any price action and closing candles above $110,000, means you've entered that party zone. Now, there'll be certain coins that will perform better than others, and that's what I want to really talk about today. If you start to see the USDT dominance maintain underneath the yellow line, what I've labeled crypto bulls are in control. As long as you're below there, crypto bulls are in control. So any spikes up over here, very, very similar to Bitcoin coming into that 106K support, you would expect simultaneously this would be meeting resistance, and you just don't want to break back above that massive candle that occurred on Monday towards the downside. So no candles above those highs, even though, however, if you do get above that, theoretically, you do have the massive S or flip region coming in for USDT dominance around that 5% mark. But the shorter term level I'm going to be looking at is, of course, the yellow line, which is here at 4.76%. So if you maintain and consolidate underneath that, expect that you should get rapid continuation towards the downside, and you should be seeing the inverse or mirrored trade to what I've just shown you across all of these other ones, like Total 1, 2, 3, and others, which you can see over here. And I'm just going to simply highlight big price move towards the upside, consolidating into key support, creating a falling wedge, ready for the next move towards the upside. And the mirror image would be this. Ultimately, you're looking at the USDT dominance, big break towards the downside, consolidates into that rising wedge, hitting key resistance, and now starting to break down. We're looking for that acceleration. It's really, really important that you understand this, that this can play out over a very, very short amount of time. If we do look at the first drop that we had over here for USDT dominance, well, this is looking at the daily chart. It took only 31 days for that to play out before we started to consolidate and find major support. So if that took 31 days, well, where are you looking at? Well, to reach the measured move, it's suggesting about 35 days if it follows the same angle. Of course, this angle could come down a little bit more aggressively. So 31 to 35 days would line up for pretty much, of course, a month from now. So that's going to be at some point around the middle of July. What's interesting about that is there are many, many, many models and economic projections that outlined that there's a possibility that you're going to see a major cycle top before the end of Q2. So very, very, very interesting when you do line these things up, because the end of Q2 is, of course, the end of June, which lines up with where you would see that USDT dominance potentially bottoming. But a lot of money can be made in that short amount of time. So similar to the Bitcoin party zone, trading above this level over here, we look at USDT dominance on the 5-day time frame, where we're starting to get a full bearish posture. We still just need the 30 moving average to begin to roll over. But as soon as this starts to begin to trade below that yellow line over there, which is 4.48%, you should start to see everything go absolutely crazy in this environment over here. Now, the reason I mentioned this to you once again is because the drop can occur very, very quickly to reach that measured move target in the space of a month. And what will happen is the fear and greed will go through the roof and people become very, very euphoric. But I'm here to show you to be all the more wise and understand that this is going to be a very, very, very key support that's going to be coming into play, and price coming into that level. You should probably become a little bit more cautious as you test the lower boundary around that pink box, which is going to be around that 3.5, 3.6 level. My best case guess over here, or at least best guess of what could happen, is probably something like that, a deviation below, snapback above, and that deviation would most likely at least set in a major, major top for the bull run, possibly even a cycle ending top. But we'll cross that road when it gets there. We don't want to get too bearish. In fact, we want to have fun in the party zone over here, party time zone. We're looking to make as much as we possibly can. And that's why I want to give you 5 trades Now, before I give you those 5 trades, what I do want to mention to you is if you do want to participate, you want to take advantage of those 5 trades, one of the best places that you can do it is on a non-KYC exchange named Blowfin, right? There's a link in the description below over here. The reason that I mentioned Blowfin is you don't need any KYC, which means there's no headaches over there. Simply just put your email address in, and you can actually get up to $4,000 in sign-up bonuses. It is one of my favorite exchanges to trade on, and the link is there for you. So if you just click on that, it should open up this page. Let's just see over there, quickly over there. There we go. Blowfin, where whales are made, right? As you can see over here, we have Whale Room. I'm all about the whale traders. So sign up if you want to take advantage of these trades. Now, what are the trades that we're looking at? First, in order to give you those trades, in order to have confidence that those are going to continue towards the upside, we do need to see a rise in the daily exchange volume, which you can see. Luckily, we're starting to curl ever so slightly. I spoke about this at length throughout the last couple of weeks, where I said that ultimately, you know, you put in a low, you put in a high low, you put in a high high, you're coming back down to form a bit of a base, and it did get a little bit uncomfortable if you're bullish, but really you want to defend that $32 to $35 billion mark. Your last low was set just below 32 billion, so you don't want to take that low out. This would simply showcase that new money is coming into the crypto markets, which would make sense if the total cryptocurrency market is moving towards the upside. New people are gaining confidence in crypto, putting their money on exchanges because they want to buy in and they want exposure to the market to participate in the upside, right? Now, if we do get that type of a move, there's certain coins that are going to outperform. One of which I've spoken about a whole lot, of course, is Ethereum. And if you look at the percentage of ETH that is staked, well, it's actually nearing all-time highs, which is a very, very optimistic sign. Let's just quickly go and show you the all data over here, all of the data. You can see slowly climbing. In more recent times, it started to get a bit more aggressive, and ETH is starting to come out of the woodworks with even the ETH BTC chart, which is vitally important to look at, breaking that RSI downtrend. Now, if we can start to get multiple candle closes to break this RSI out of this downtrend for multiple candles, that will increase the confidence that you're looking at a big breakout. Now, in terms of a measured move, this could theoretically outperform Bitcoin still by about 33 to 34% before we even need to consider taking profits, which is going to come into play right here into that underside resistance. So you can see clear SR flip, right? I'm sure all of you can see this. It's an SR flip over here, previous support. Once it lost, it came back down, tested as resistance, marked all the way down. Therefore, the next test of that level, if we do make money on that ETH trade, which is what we entirely plan to do, that's where we want to start to take some profit, right? So keep an eye out on that. So far, so good. As long as ETH holds up over here, it has a real chance to outperform, which is what we've been seeing over the last couple of days. And in fact, if we look at the block and we analyze everything in terms of the Ethereum ETFs, it's starting to move off the chart, right? Cumulative spot Ethereum volumes are on the rise over here. Pretty much every metric across the board is starting to turn a corner, and ETH is starting to come alive. The question is, will that trend continue? Because as a trend trader, you need to see high highs and high lows. And what we've got is we've got a low, we got a high, we got a high low. But do we have 3 consecutive high highs and high lows yet? Not yet when measured against BTC. So a little bit more work still needs to be done by the bulls over here. But what I do want to identify over here is I showcased to you guys already a long time ago exactly what we're looking for. In fact, if you go back, this was streamed over here on the 26th of April. You can see over there, 26th of April. I dedicated one entire show specifically just to Ethereum, showing you the ETH BTC charts. We went through absolutely everything. ETH BTC coming into key support. We had another test of the RSI trend line over there. It's not quite bullish divergence, but nevertheless, RSI and ETH BTC test 1, test 2, test 3, and starting to bounce. And I tried to give you every single level over here to look at. We're looking at the ETH BTC pair on multiple different time frames. We're looking at the liquidation levels. We looked at the USD pair, and I told you at the very least, this was when ETH was trading around 1,800. We're looking at a move up to 2,400. Now, if I'm not mistaken, well, we've already pretty much got that, right? Let's just quickly see where ETH is right now. So 2,700. So we've actually superseded that target. The main target that we're looking at was about 3,300 in ETH. And you can see we're targeting as well the 30 moving average on the 5-day time frame. I gave you the ETH trade, the long right here, live on the show, as well as in the Whale Room Discord multiple different times. And that was a little ascending triangle leading to the breakout. And so far, so good. All is playing out. So if you want the next 5 trades, smash the like button. Smash the like button. Let me know in the comment section which coins you think it is, and I'll make sure to bring those up. Smash the like button over there. But in order for ETH to really get a sustained bid, what we really need to see is a breakdown in the Bitcoin dominance. I'm looking at Bitcoin dominance on the weekly time frame, which is traded within this incredibly tight parallel channel all the way towards the upside. And at some point very, very, very soon, we're expecting that this should break down. Now, how much higher could it go? My base case areas that I have is 66 to 69%, as it's been circled over there in the top within that pink box zone. And that's based on the super fib levels, right? The 0.786 fib up to the 0.886 fib, that is based off the overall trading range from the high to the low, pretty much capped between these yellow levels over there. Usually that is where you see some sort of a stop and reversal. And what I like about that is it's also matching this parallel channel's upper boundary. So if you do get one more spike up over here on BTC, right, against the rest of the altcoins, that could mark the major top. And then we'll start to look for a bit of reaction towards the downside and hopefully some lower lows and lower highs and a big breakdown over there where we can make ample gains with the altcoins. And that's why I want to give you those 5 altcoin picks today. So we spoke about this in yesterday's show, most specifically, where I said that we have this massive SR flip when focusing on the 720-day moving average and the 180-day moving average, which is considered massive fair value for those who have been trying to buy ETH and dollar cost averaging in over the last couple of weeks, months, and even years in some cases. We had a unique scenario where ETH came all the way back down to what is essentially considered bear market lows. Now we have this opportunity for some major catch-up that could potentially take place, pending that the ETH BTC chart continues to hold up and break out of this zone over here. Multiple candle closes outside of here will confirm the breakout, and then you're going to see people position giga long into ETH, right? So big SR flip around 2,500. Any pullbacks into there become major opportunities for you to jump on board. And again, guys, I tried to warn you as well in the Whale Room Discord. This was all the way back on the 10th of April, right? 10th of April, I gave you a setup on the ETH BTC long as well, looking to break out of those zones over there, as it's always risky to risk our Bitcoin for anything else, right? We always want to hold Bitcoin as long as possible. I gave you the ETH USD pair as well. That was on the 25th of April, and I gave you the long trade over there at 1,700. Just before that, we gave you the long trade at 1,500, and this is the one that's really started to get moving. We're now trading all the way above that previous month's high, which was at that time a big target for us. And now we're looking for continuation all the way up to where the yearly open. What's important about this is you have to understand that this will open the floodgates for the rest of the coins. So I'm going to try and give you some opportunities for those of you that have missed out. Use the link in the description below. Sign up to Blowfin if you do want extra alpha like we give over here in the private group in Whale Room. Well, also there's a link in the description below for that. Make sure that you do take advantage. There it is. Whale Room is listed below. So, well, what are the coins? The first one, of course, is still ETH. I am still going to give ETH as an opportunity because I think ETH will trade at minimum to the draw on liquidity, which is 3,300. Maybe I'll put in a bit of a small pullback from there, back down to similar levels around 283,000, find support. And then I think it's going to mark up to about 4,000. And if it breaks 4,000, it's probably going up to about $7,000, which is the measured move off of a breakout of a long-term reaccumulation range or horizontal level. We can actually measure the target levels for ETH. Therefore, if that happens, we expect certain altcoins will really perform very well. So what we want to look at is we want to look at the momentum oscillator simply on the daily to not get chopped in and out on very low time frames. And what we can see on the daily is basically the momentum oscillator is bullish. It's bullish for ETH. And if we look at the ETH USD pair, well, this is what you're going to be looking at, right? If you're lucky, you'll get a throwback into about 2,500 region over here, which is your fair value gap. if price does come anywhere into the zone as per the white line, you'd be then looking at a markup towards 3,300. Following that markup to 3,300, the expectation would be you'll probably put in a bit of a pullback, so something like that. And then as you can see over here, the pink box ties in onto a high time frame level, which is going to be your major mid-range. So I expect a big move, 3,300. Price comes back towards about 2,800 to 3,000. Find support. You can re-long over there if you fumble the ball or if you miss the pump. And then we're looking for the move up to about 4,000 and possibly beyond over time. So that's one trade, right? I promised you I'd give you 5. That's one trade. There's a freshie for you. Let's go on to trade number 2. Trade number 2, we have to look at XRP. What is going on with XRP? Let's just quickly see over here. Where are our levels at? We need our momentum oscillator. Let me just do a quick refresh over here. Let's get our XRP. Oh, as I click refresh, it comes back up. But anyways, let's let that load up. Okay, we got our XRP momentum oscillator. Let's double check we're on the right one. Alrighty. No, we're not on XRP. There's XRP. So momentum oscillator for XRP, bullish. It's starting to roll over, creating a bullish pattern over here. High lows. The money flow is moving towards the upside. We got a little bit of a drop off over here on the VWAP, but it should turn back up. RSIs are looking relatively strong. Let's go to XRP on the USD pair. This is another trade opportunity. Pullbacks down into the yellow box. Why do I have these levels marked out? Well, firstly, we measured from the low to the high. The low to the high gives you a 50% level. The 50% level comes in right over there. And therefore, any pullback that comes into that region, which is going to be about $2.13, is a good buy zone with a stop loss just below those lows. I've given a bit of a looser stop loss on mine personally because there is always a chance that you do something like that. But nevertheless, that is your bid zone. And where you're looking for a move to play out on XRP, well, back to the top of the trading range, which would look something like this, move up to about 331. And if you can leave that trading range, you possibly could trade all the way up to about $4.58, but we'll reserve that level for later. Let's move on to the next coin. I've given you two out of the 5. If you guys smash the like button, we can get the likes up to around 500 for the live show. I'll make sure that I give you a 6th bonus one, right? So we've given you 2. The third one is Solana. Also, bullish momentum wave over here. Money flows rising towards the upside. RSIs are looking strong and rising. And we have the VWAP also increasing towards the upside. Let's go to Sol USD pair over here. And what do we see for Sol USD pair? Well, any pullback that comes down, I would say between about 144 and about 152 is going to be a bid zone. Stop loss I've left for mine at about 131. And I'd be trading this at first to about 200 and thereafter towards the new highs, which is going to be 259. And of course, all of this is dependent on the USDT dominance continuing its trajectory towards the downside, just to be crystal clear. So we've given you ETH, we've given you XRP, we've given you Solana. Now we're going to have a look at 𝗬𝗎 as the next candidate, right? 𝗬𝗎, very, very similar to all the rest of them. Bullish momentum oscillators flipping green over here on the bottom. We have the money flow crossing the 0 line, moving towards the upside. RSIs are bullish. VWAP is rising towards the upside. And we know that when this one cooks, this one absolutely cooks. So I'm not sure you're going to get a pullback any deeper than this because, again, when this one flies, it flies. But if you get lucky enough to have a little bit of a throwback down to about 327 into that region over there, stop loss underneath these lows, which is about 288. I've left mine a little bit looser for about $2.80. You can look at a move at least towards these highs. Thereafter, you can trade it to the top of the last falling wedge. And if it goes absolutely berserk, like we expect the market could do, it's always possible if we do put in an alt season, $7.63, right? So I know we're moving very, very, very quickly, guys. You can always pause the video. You can rewatch these parts. I'm just trying to give you the alpha as quick as possible before the chart actually moves. So you've got ETH, you got XRP, you got Solana, you got 𝗬𝗎. We now have to move on to the next one. And what do you know? It's in order, right? Sonic. It's almost like I planned the show for you. Momentum oscillators, bullish, rising towards the upside. Money flow, not yet bullish, right? You can see the red line, money flow over there, chopping about, but this should start to gain momentum. Usually Sonic, previously named Phantom, is one of the last to move, right? It's one of the last coins to move, but when it moves, it also moves big. VWAP moving towards the upside, RSI starting to trend up on the daily. Therefore, that one looks pretty decent. And the levels to watch for over here, similar to 𝗬𝗎, right? If this does get going, you might miss the opportunity, but there's your main range low. main range low, 37 cents. We bought it just underneath over here previously, but I'm giving you another opportunity for those who weren't watching the show. Deviation back inside the trading range. Literally, as long as it holds inside that trading range over there, you're looking to long this up to the mid-range, which is about 62 cents. And thereafter, you can trade this to about 87 cents. And if things like SUI go to $7, then of course this is going to probably break above that and go beyond. But we take it one step at a time. Right now, you have a very favorable risk to reward ratio. So I've given you 5. That's 5. Let's check the likes. How many likes do we have? If we have enough likes, well, what we can do is I'll give you the 6th one. Guys, I'll wait for you. Smash the like button. Smash the like button over there. I'll give you a couple of seconds. Let me know in the comments as well. Are you in any of these positions? If so, how many are you in? If not, which ones are you taking? Let me know which ones you're taking. I do actually read the comments, believe it or not. So before we give the bonus one, the 6th one, which I think has some of the highest upside potential, I do want to remind you, our traders are absolutely killing it over here in the Whale Room Discord. If you're not already in there, you're literally missing out on massive gains. Please do make sure that you take advantage of that. Jump in. Remember, if, for example, you're undecisive, what you can do is you can always join into Whale School, which is completely free. By joining Whale School, you actually get access to a 14-day free trial into Whale Room anyway. What's the difference? Whale School is the free course content. It's all my alpha knowledge to you guys on a silver platter for free. The only thing that you need is a user ID, which you can get from Blofin. So sign up to an exchange, provide the user ID to get access. We do that to keep out the scammers, right? So people can be verified. That's the first thing. The second thing is Whale Room is the private group, right? It is a paid group, but it's because we have absolute alpha in there. And again, we want to keep it to a select few group of people. We have a lot of pro traders. We trade the stock market over here. This trader actually focuses specifically on just trading prop firm challenges, right? He has some of the P&Ls, some of the gains for the trading week. So passing prop firm challenges, use those prop firm challenges, they fund you, and that's how you can trade with other people's money. And then the rest of our traders are a wide mix, right? Scalpers, swing traders, crypto traders. We have some Forex traders. We have a whole bunch in there. Okay, the 6th coin. I know you guys have waited long enough. 6th coin, bonus coin. I told you I'll give you 5. I'm giving you the 6th coin. I think this one's a solid flyer. I think that if we get a breakdown in Bitcoin dominance, these are the types of coins that will give you, back in the day, we used to talk about 10x gains often. Now 10x gains are a lot harder to come by, especially late in the crypto cycle, which undoubtedly we're in. We're late in the cycle. We're about 70-80% through. The vast majority of the cycle is complete. So if I tell you this is, I don't want to say such a thing as a sure thing. There's no such thing as a sure thing. But if I tell you that Bitcoin dominance breaks down and ETH runs to 7K, this coin will 10x, then I think that that's a pretty fair statement. I think that's a pretty fair statement. The coin in question is, and I've given this to you before, but I'm going to give it to you again because I know there's always late people who have missed out. Nobody sausage. Nobody sausage is what the coin is. It came perfectly into key support. We gave it exactly over there at the low, 0.019 within that region at that exact wick. I took the liberty of marking out some precise targets for you. And I must say conservative targets, precise conservative targets based on fib extensions. And what we're looking at over here is, of course, wave 1, wave 2, which is where we bought. And now we're looking for this thing to rip into wave 3, which should take it up to 11 cents, right? Just shy of 12 cents. That's going to be a 1.618 fib extension. It probably could easily run well beyond that to the 3.618. But again, I told you, we go with a conservative target. So nobody sausage, currently trading at a $37 million market cap. I think I gave it to you at about a $20 million market cap, which means you've probably already doubled your money. So massive congratulations to all of you. Thank you so much for joining. I will let you know that tomorrow, there is a chance that maybe I won't do a show. It will be my birthday. So wish me a happy birthday on Thursday, the 12th of June. I'm going to be traveling. But if I have a chance to do a show because the internet's good enough, I absolutely 100% will be doing that. So thank you so much for joining. I appreciate each and every single one of you. And I hope that you have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Cheers for now.